Greetings from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Hello from Hobbiton.
Say hello, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
What it do?
So,
We are live.
by the way, for the viewers that are watching this, this is like the worst night that the internet could have gone out. We're recording during like a big
blackout.
internet outage, and like as far as me, you guys are kind of lagging a little bit. So, kind of hoping that kind of fixes. But
Yeah.
But nevertheless, we're excited to be here. So good to see you guys. It's been a while. I think the last time we put out an episode was for Cody and Absidy's wedding. So
That's
it was
cool.
me, Isaac, and Nathan,
that
and
was
Mike.
fun.
That was super fun.
No, we did didn't we
Mike
do
was
the
there too?
zombie one after that?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and y'all said we
Mike was
died in the
losing it
first
all by
season.
himself.
Why?
No, it's because y'all were like, it was just me, Isaac, and Nate, and I was like, Mike, you were there too.
I said Mike.
Mike was there to
Oh.
forget to
I said it
record.
at the end.
We're delayed. All right.
We'll find out when
Michael
we
was there
review
to not
this.
record the first 30 minutes.
It's also 11:30 at night right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're
It's
all
late.
kind of.
All right, you guys ready to dive into some questions from the fans
Ooh, go ahead.
before it gets any later?
Let's do it.
We got a handful, and they're pretty loaded. So,
Loaded like a baked potato.
let's dive right in. This one comes from Jonathan Anzaldua. It says, "What's the most embarrassing thing you've witnessed each other do?" Something comes to mind. Something comes to mind with Brandon. This
Me
was at
too.
my parents' church. Yeah, Nathan was there. I'm not sure if Mike was there at that time,
I'm wondering
but
if we're thinking about the same story.
I don't think so.
I
'Cause
don't
you
know.
just
I
hold
think
on,
I
hold
know
on.
where John's going. I don't know what
It-
Nate's thinking about.
It involved you being on the stage and getting
Yeah,
off
and
the
I
stage.
fell. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my story. That's the one that I thought of.
Yeah, dude. So let me just set the stage. No pun intended. So anytime Brandon was in town, my parents would, ask him to pray to dismiss, and Brandon always showed up like he was gonna do like a funeral after service because he was always like in a suit and tie and a coat and everything.
Dude, I was
And
Nice.
indoctrinated. Leave me alone.
oh, you look good, bro.
Oh, I know.
So they went up there. They would call him up there. Brandon would pray to dismiss, right? And there was a group of us that were like at the front left side of the stage on the ground already. And Brandon was getting off the stage, and I don't know if he just misjudged the distance between where he was walking and the steps, but he slipped and he did like a somersault, like a front flip down the steps, and we just heard like like that. And he rolled into it and landed on his feet and stood up. And he just like walked off like if nothing happened. And like me and Nathan, we were in that group of people and we were losing it. But
That
that's
was
for
the most
sure.
impressive part to me was when like he
Oh
just
yeah, for
rolled
sure.
through it and made it look so natural. I
I
was
could have
like,
ate
bro's
it,
watched
but
so much Batman, he just adopted it into his
Yeah.
everyday life and just he was
Dude.
ready, bro.
dude, let me tell you a funny story. Actually, kind of like that just happened at work. So
Oh, no.
so I work at the Grand Hyatt, and outside there on the 5th floor is like a patio area, right? Well, there's an exclusive part to one of the suites outside that has a small like little patio deck area where you can sit outside, right? And it's a little gate. It's kind of gated and closed off. And the gate's probably about to like your chest, right? It's not super tall, but it's not super whatever. Well, I didn't know that they locked the entranceway to the outside. I went through the room to get outside, and getting out to the room outside, it locked. The door locked, and you don't have a key to open that door, because it's just meant to shut and lock. So I was like, shoot, I'm locked out. I was like, when I finish this, because they wanted me to figure out something that was wrong with one of the tiles or something like that, and I was checking it out. Whatever, I was finishing, and then I went to go pull the lever for the outside one, and they freaking zip tied it, and I was like, "What the heck?" I was like, "When did they do this?" So I was like, "Dude, I was like panicking because I was like, how am I gonna get out of here, right?" So I'm like, and it was already like 4:50, so like I was like, "Dude, I'm trying to get out of here. Like, I'm not trying to spend more time at work." So I, I was like, "Man, what do I do? What do I do?" And we have these little there's a little table outside, so I just kicked the table against the thing and I on the fence, and I jumped on the fence, almost ate it, and then jumped off. So, you know, me being I'm a little fatter than I was back when this happened, and let me tell you, I still got it. You know, I still landed on my feet. I almost busted my butt, but I didn't.
Nice.
I'm sure there's security footage of that somewhere. Someone's probably
Oh, I
like
wouldn't doubt it.
watching, being like, "Bro, what the heck is this guy doing?"
Dude, when I first raised up my leg, like I could not get over the stupid gate. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, hold on, let me stretch." Let me stretch to get over this thing, and then I did, and I just hopped on it, and then, I was like, "All right." Watching all that wrestling paid off somehow.
This is definitely a reoccurring, probably fan favorite story from the podcast, but another embarrassing thing that we've witnessed, we being me and Nathan, was hearing Michael declare that he was God.
Damn. So what?
I
That's
don't
my
think this is
favorite
in video
story.
form yet. I don't think this is in video form yet. I think this would be good.
It's not in video form for sure, but we've said this at least 2 or 3
No.
times. But I don't
Yeah,
think anybody ever complains
Dude.
about this story.
It's
What
But
was the
so
story
good.
though, or what'd you say?
okay, oh, I was saying that Michael declared that he was God.
Oh gosh! Yes, that's a funny story.
Louder. I'm not put-
Yeah. So we were at a prayer
Declare it,
meeting.
Mike.
We were at a prayer meeting. Let's just say that uh, there was a particular family at my dad's church at the time that it didn't sit well with them that Matt and Sarah were leaving. And so they decided to get all the youth leaders together and they were like gonna pray. So we got together at their house and they're expressing to everybody there that they just don't feel like there's a peace about this and all this stuff. So guys, we need to pray. We need to come against this. We need to pray to reverse this. This is not of God, blah blah blah, right? And so we all start holding hands together and form a circle. And this specific person wanted us to go one by one in the circle, say your name, and say that you're a daughter or a son of God. Okay. And so, we're going down the line and, someone goes, someone else goes, and I see that Michael's next. But we weren't even laughing. Like, we were just really trying to, like, get past, like, the cringiness of it. Like, yes, there was, like, real. For them, they felt like it was a real thing. And not to say that when you hold hands and you pray and declare things together that God doesn't move. Like, it's not to say that that's not something that happens. But in this case, it was like they were making it out to be something that it really wasn't. And so it was cringy in the sense that those of us who knew that it wasn't an evil spirit or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we were just kind of like,
They're just being like superficial about it.
yeah, it was.
Wait,
Yeah,
did they really think that they had an evil spirit when they were leaving?
I don't think they thought it was an evil spirit. They just thought or that they had evil spirits, but they just thought that what was happening was
evil.
divisive or divisive, however you want to say it, and it was
That
like
the devil
not
was
of
trying
God.
to
It
sow
was like,
seeds. Yeah.
yeah. And
To
so,
divide the church or whatever.
so we're all holding hands, and it gets up to Michael, and all of us are kind of doing this number. We're like squinting, and we're looking at see who's next, right? And it gets to Michael, and I don't know if you want to do it, Mike, or you want me to do it, or
What did I say first?
I've never seen Mike say it.
Reenact.
okay, go for it, Mike.
Which one did I say first? That I am?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I was supposed to say my name is Michael, and then I'm a son of God, right? So what did I say? I said, oh yeah, I was like, my name is God, and then I was like, dang it, I was like, that's not what I was supposed to say. They're like, And they're like, "Come on, Michael, you can do it." I was like, "All right." Like, and then I was like, "My name is Michael, and I'm a son of Cod." I was like, "No, that's not right." Then I'm like, "Say it again." Okay, and I just did it. He did it right the third.
My man.
I am the
my
Messiah.
Of course, there's voice cracks just scattered throughout that. It was just so funny.
My man
Son of
said,
God.
"My name is God."
Yeah.
Instead of God.
Bro, you said you were God before Kanye did. Oh,
Yeah.
that will forever be ingrained
That's
in my
funny.
mind. That
I'm liking the
story.
mustache, by the way, Mike.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I went for a
Let's
clean
have
haircut.
everybody vote in the comment section.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah, then I'm gonna do a burst fade. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh my God! I just
Are you
realized
really?
you don't
To
have a
your
beard.
mustache?
That'd be
Huh?
awesome.
You're gonna do a burst
You
fade to
do
your
a burst
mustache?
fade
Is what
to
he's
your-
asking?
No. Just
Oh.
It'd be like
Because
a
over here-
modern
Beacon's over here
Hitler.
brushing his mustache like, "Hey, compliment my mustache."
Because mustache is educated. He like works at
Mhm.
college and stuff.
Educated.
hmm
Mhm.
I've seen Isaac do a lot of embarrassing things, but
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
same.
feel like
Oh God.
like he just makes it not as awkward or as terrible as anyone else in this group would. Like, if I were to say more than half the things that he says on a microphone, I would probably just like turn super red
And
and
walk
just be
off.
like, thank you guys for your time. God bless you. And just walk off and be like, "Well, this guy has said some
Oh, yeah,
crazy
wow.
stuff, like crazy stuff." And I just, me and another guy who's been on the podcast, Jesse, we just look at each other. Nathan, if he's near us, we just look at each other like, only Isaac could say something like that and get away with it. Everyone else would be called into a meeting like right after service and be like, "Hey, so like even if it has nothing to do with doctrine, like that's false doctrine." They're like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
it's so
just such a
funny.
free spirit. Like
Mhm.
you,
It's very
Isaac. We were talking
uncanny.
about this the other day about a different subject though. But you were saying, I think it was at Calacas after youth center, after youth service. You said that it's so hard for you to something. Do you remember that conversation? What was it?
It's so hard for me to. I don't remember what we were talking about.
I've, oh, was it? Oh, and we being afraid of like
Oh,
demonic activity or
oh yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Like I haven't felt fear in like 10 years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like you're the same way with like embarrassment. Like it's so hard for you to
yeah,
get embarrassed. Like you're such a free spirit. You do whatever you want, and like even though it's not like the norm, like you just don't care, bro. And it's all like in good
yeah.
fun, and it's funny.
No, stuff happens to me at least like once a week that would wreck somebody else's life.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, like
for sure.
major. If you want to hear anything that happens to me, listen to any sermon I've ever preached. Not only do I embarrass myself there, but I have a story that I start with, which is idiotic. But honestly, it goes back to when I was growing up, and there was this one time that I was gonna sing a song for the first time, and we're all gonna, have this amazing worship set and all this. And I practiced the song for some reason more than every other song I've ever rehearsed. And I was like, let's just do it, right? I'm gonna go up there. And then we get there, and they start the intro. SpongeBob intro. I don't know why that came out. And then it starts, right? I'm supposed to come in, and my mind goes blank, like completely blank. This is on a Sunday morning. It wasn't a ginormous church, but it was a good size. Let's say 300, 400 people there. Like, right? Like a lot of people. Sunday morning, dude, my mind just goes like nothing's happening up here, and I'm like, praise God. I started to do that, and then this is a true story. I go to the girl next to me, and I'm like, hey, how does the song go? And she's just there, like,
Not the mic clap. Not the mic clap.
dude, she was
I
doing
hate that crap.
And then I go to
Oh.
the girl next to her, and I'm like, "Hey, how does the song go?" And she's there, and I'm like, "Dude, this is a true
God,
story."
I hate that too.
I go to
So
every
cringe.
person in the whole band. I go to my sister on the piano.
How do you
And
do that? How do you do that?
dude, you guys don't get it. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I'm going from person to person to person. The whole
On
band.
stage?
Hey, how does
Oh
this
my
song go?
God.
In the middle of them playing, nobody's looking at me. They're all looking straight forward. The whole congregation is like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's going through the whole song. Every person, I go to my sister who's on the piano and she's just there. Nobody's looking me in the eye. And I'm like, somebody help me, my God. And then I go back and I make up my own song. I have the lyrics in front of me and I'm like, Jesus, thank you, and all the stuff. Give it up, and literally,
Bro.
I
I
like
wrecked
you,
it.
Schneebly.
I haven't known of somebody to wreck something as bad as I wrecked it that day, and it made me absolutely numb to any sort of embarrassment. Like
Wow.
I can't exaggerate how bad it was. Like I can't even explain to you guys how bad it was.
Does anybody
It
bring? Does
was so
anybody? Does
bad.
anybody
I
ever
went-
bring it up?
Huh?
Does anybody ever bring it up? Like,
Oh yeah.
hey,
Okay, so
remember you
everybody
did
that was
this?
in that service,
He said,
every
yeah.
single person that was there remembers it. It's not one of those memories that's like, oh yeah, that happened, right? No, it's like actively in people's minds.
It's like scarred
It
in
was
people's
that bad.
scarred in people's minds.
It was so crazy, horrible things happened to me. Maybe even worse than that now, and I feel nothing. Absolutely
Dude,
nothing.
if I had gotten to that point where I go to like people one by one and they're just staring straight, I would have thought life was a simulation at that point. Cause like, dude, why aren't you helping me? Like, what the heck?
Nobody looked at
That's
me.
crazy.
Dude, I would have shook somebody. I would have been like, hey,
Dude, I was
focus.
like
What's going on?
one by one.
We're going down together.
I
Nah,
went
I ain't looking stupid. What are we doing? What is going on? here?
nobody helped me.
Oh,
My own
That's
family, my
crazy.
sister was like,
I would've
nobody
surprised
looked at me.
That's crazy.
That's
Except
yeah,
for
that's wild.
They're like, I'm not going down with you. They're like, I'm not going down with you.
they're like,
I
this
know
is
my
on me,
parts.
dude.
They said, ignore him. Ignore him.
The cool thing
And they
about
were
it now,
all
though, is if you go back to the church, there's a shrine about it, and it's just on loop
Yeah.
on a little
No,
monitor.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, it says the death of emotion by Isaac.
It's on the it's on the welcome table.
I haven't felt humiliation. I haven't felt fear. I haven't felt love since then. I'm just kidding.
God.
Damn.
This
No.
man.
But anyways,
Oh,
that I don't know if I've told anybody that, but that is the reason why I feel nothing. And every time
That's
somebody messes
wild.
up or whatever, they're like, "Oh, I messed up a lyric." I'm like, "You have no idea."
You're like,
Like,
that's cute.
I didn't
That's
know the
cute.
whole
You messed up on a
song.
lyric.
Like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think the craziest part is the fact that you said you rehearsed it so much,
Yeah,
and then, like in the moment, like the song was completely erased from your memory, and you're like,
dude. I'm not known to be like a rehearse type of person. For some reason, with that song, I literally spent days learning it lyric by lyric. And shoot, that's of the devil. We need Mike to pray
What
for
song
this
is
one
it?
right now.
Just out of curiosity, what song is it?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, well never mind.
I
He doesn't
I
remember
should
the
know
song.
that, but
I
it's
wish that
burned
y'all were
out.
live streaming by then, so we could go back and watch this.
I wish.
Oh god.
You
Wow,
know,
that'd have been
now,
fun.
Oh, I
now
have-
when I yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say now when something embarrassing happens, like the live stream, I don't even know if I can say it here, right? And let's leave it on. But you guys
This is a
remember the
safe
live
place.
stream that I talked about with when I was like, "Oh, it reminds me of my wedding day" or whatever. You guys,
Oh
I think
yeah, bro.
okay, so
Mhm.
that thing happened, and it's super embarrassing. It would ruin people's lives. I actively look for the recording and want to see it over and over again because it's just now that we live stream, I'm like,
So it could
nice.
remind you of your wedding night.
Exactly. you know?
Wait, there's a video of that,
Yes, there's a
Yes,
video,
dude.
dude. I gotta watch it, bro. I've never seen
dude.
it.
I need to find it.
Look, next time we get together, we're gonna watch that video. Hey, I have something that embarrassing happened to me, and Nathan was there to witness it.
Oh, so
Oh
funny.
gosh.
So,
I have a story about you, and I wonder again if it's the same one. But
oh, it happened like in the last month or month and a half.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, damn.
So,
Yeah,
so
I think so.
something that Nathan, myself, Jesse, Sarah, Matthew, and Misael have been praying for is for God to use Worship Alive and for us to have more opportunities, to minister like outside of the church, because that's what we believe we're called to do, is to minister through worship. Authentic worship is what we like to call it, in different settings, different people, not just the same people every time, And so we've been praying, that would be something that God would do through our band this year more than he's ever done. And we have like 3 or 4 different events lined up in October.
Yeah, bro.
That's wild.
Pretty cool.
Crazy.
Praise God.
But
Wow.
definitely. But I think it was last month, or was it 2 months ago, Nate? Like a month and a half ago, maybe?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, Sarah and her kids, Zara and Hayden, they're part of like a homeschool group. And so sometimes they do like events where they have praise and worship and stuff. And so Sarah, not really trying to make it a Worship Alive thing, just knew that she could count on the people in the band to support her by going to this little like small group of like a little camp or like a little get together and lead worship. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we all just put together like a simple set. I took a drum pad, like not even an actual drum set, which by the way, it sounded killer, right, Nate?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you're gonna like not back me up. I was like, so anyway, like it was like a really solid, like for what it was, a setup. So instead of having an electric drum set, I borrowed Hayden's electric kick pedal and I put it into the drum pad, and then I just kind of mapped out how I would want to play an actual drum set, but on the pads. So it was like super solid. And so we're playing, right, and I think we were like in worship, right? It was probably like altar call, or I forgot what song it was, but we were playing, and my mind went into cruise control of like cymbals, toms being more spread out instead of in this pad.
Mm-hmm.
So with Nathan's using it. So with my hand, I hit like the corner of the drum pad, and the stick just went like rolling on the floor to my right. And I quickly was like, "Oh, not a problem. Like, I'll just grab another stick, right?" So I grabbed the stick that was in my left hand and kind of tossed it over to my right side to grab another stick. Well, in that process, I dropped the other stick. Okay. This is the funny part. That in itself is embarrassing. That's funny. I'm gonna lower the camera a little bit so you guys can see what I did with my hands.
Oh,
So I'm playing, I drop it, whatever, and then I literally just go. Like I just dropped both hands. Like I was defeated. Like there was no coming back from this. I don't know if you guys can see like this. Oh, no, this is where the table is. But my hands literally just went like I just dropped my hands down. And I was like, bro, like what the heck? Like what? Oh man, did I mess this up? Darn it. Anyway, it was super embarrassing because like I'm there, and because it's a smaller venue, it was like a little house. Like they could see that I was like trying to figure out what to do. So like I just threw my arms down. I'm like, dang it. Like I'm looking around. I look over at Nathan, and Nathan's like trying not to lose it. And Matt's playing keys, right? And there were some like drumsticks from like the drum set that they had there, like electric drum set. And he's trying to trying to reach behind him to grab them, and he just like hands them to me and just start playing. And then not like every 5 minutes or so, I kept looking back at Nate, and Nate was still giggling. I'm like, this dude.
I had the giggles, bro. I couldn't.
It's literally one of those settings where like you shouldn't be laughing, but that's what's making you laugh even more. it was definitely like that. It was honestly, it was super embarrassing. I was like, dang it.
The detail that made me laugh the most, and it's even right now as I'm replaying it in my head, is that like when he when it was like in the middle of a roll, I think, and that's kind of what made him
Yes,
kind of
it
fumble the
was.
sticks, right? So then he tried to finish it with the right, and so as he's doing the transfer, he loses it. Um, he has no choice but to only have the kick pedal. So
Yeah.
not only does the middle
All
of
you
the
hear is like
roll
a
just stop, it just goes, and he's trying to figure out what to do, and
Yeah.
he just kicked. And and uh, and I think at some point he tried to like grab it, and he knew that he had to not hit the kick in order to grab the sticks.
Oh
So at some
yeah.
point he
That's
just had to drop out
yeah.
and turn around and go get the sticks. And dude, and I think even Sarah mentioned it that night. Like she turned around and was like, "What happened? Like, why did the jump
Yeah.
just stop?"
She was like is this not working
Oh,
anymore, or like what's going on? That
that's
was
funny, bro.
it was extremely
Oh,
embarrassing, and
That's crazy.
but hey, it happens. It happens.
God.
this isn't the most embarrassing story about you, John, but this was the first one that came to mind. With
Oh god.
sorry, that made it sound like that was like you have a lot of embarrassing stories, but um. It was when that preacher went to go preach at NVA and you were by the lights.
Oh my gosh.
And the
Yes.
only reason that story came up to mind because I think the question was most embarrassing moment at church, right? Or no?
It
With
says,
each
"What's
other.
the most
Just you
embarrassing
witness,
thing
just you
you've
witness.
witnessed each other do?" But I
Oh,
mean,
okay, okay.
but we're
I don't know
always
what.
in church, so it makes sense that that's like
Gotcha, gotcha.
something that we see
Yeah.
that happen.
One,
But yeah, my
it was
dad.
nothing crazy, but it was. You go for it. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, my dad. Once in a while he'll like invite like a special guest or whatever, and so we had this special guest come to the church, and he was preaching, and I was in the sound booth with Nathan and like some of the other like sound techs or whatever, and we're just back there listening to the sermon, and it's already getting to that point where like the band goes up for response, right, or whatever. And I had my elbow resting on the ledge, and I guess I was a little too far to the left, and when I was looking this way, and my elbow kind of slipped, and I turned off one of the light switches, and it turned off the wall lights on the side, so it didn't shut down like any of the major lights, but those lights are noticeable when they're on and off. And so since they had been on the whole time, everybody saw that they were shut off for a little bit and turned back on. And so literally in the middle of this pastor's message, like in the middle of him like driving home the point or whatever, he stops in his tracks and he's just like, "Oh, God bless you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Pastor Mario." He starts like thanking my dad for letting him be there
Oh
in the
gosh.
middle of him preaching, bro. Like, and I'm not even
He
joking,
probably thought like, oh, that's my sign to leave. He's like, that's my sign
bro.
to leave.
I'm not.
Oh
Yeah, no, that's
man.
literally what he said. He's like, "Oh, I think that's my cue. Thank you, Pastor, so much for having me. God bless you, Mid Valley Assembly.
Oh
Whatever." Bro,
no.
this is my dad sits on the front left side of the sanctuary, and so when that happened, my eyes were like, "Oh my god!" I look at Nathan, and I just see my dad's head slowly go.
Yep.
Oh
Bro,
no.
here's the soundboard or the sound booth, and my head was like going like this, dude. It was so bad.
That's a bad one.
It was
That's
so
a bad
bad, bro. So bad.
Did he follow up with you or no?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I got like in trouble or something.
Mm.
My dad's pretty good
Per
about hearing me
usual.
out before he like goes to the punishment phase, you know?
Really?
Yeah. Like, or as I got older, like if I was like 5 or 6 years old and I did something I wasn't supposed to do, I'd get in trouble. But I was
That's
already like
cool.
one of my teens, and I was like, "Look, I know you're mad. I promise you, I didn't do that on purpose. It was an accident." It was the way the pastor like stopped, like he almost like if he was startled. He was like, "Oh,
Oh
oh,
man.
I think that's my cue. God bless you,
Poor
advice,
guy.
pastor."
Oh,
When you turn off
Thank
the
you
poor
so
lights.
much.
guy.
I was like, "Someone's not going
Mike,
to eat this today."
Mike's like,
Right,
oh,
that's,
what are you
that's,
turning on?
that's right. That's what happens. You turn off the
Like,
lights.
oh yeah.
What?
Is that why you
Mike,
turned off the lights on the pastor?
he just said the whole story.
Let's move on to some more questions. You guys want to go into a little bit like maybe slightly controversial conversation, or do you want to keep going with like the random stuff and then we'll get there
Doesn't matter.
eventually?
Just do it.
I would say
Isaac?
I have about 20 minutes. So
Okay. I
if
think you're the
we
perfect guy
want to
to-
go deep, we can go deep. If we want
Yeah.
to keep it light, it's up to you guys.
Well, I think we're probably gonna do either one. Like we're gonna do both, but I would very much like for you to be a part of the conversation where it does get deep.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Okay, so this question comes from. Oh, where did Nathan go?
I think he's switching over to his internet.
Oh,
Our host.
There you
Oh,
go.
man,
hey,
Shut
He's
up.
crystal clear. Look at him.
he's crispy,
Chulo.
crispy.
You look good, Nate.
Stop, y'all
Hi.
hyping me up too much.
So this question is pretty deep, and I think it'd be best to probably protect the name of the person who sent. I know that Jonathan wouldn't really mind us saying the question earlier.
Oh, I thought you just said his name. I was like,
No. The reason why I read Jonathan's name was because that question wasn't very deep.
Hello, Cynthia.
oh,
What?
Oh,
Now he's gonna have to do some editing.
This guy.
I didn't hear him.
It's an office reference. You guys are
What?
making it more than it is.
What did you say? I didn't hear you at all.
I said, hello,
Dang,
Cynthia.
he just disappeared.
Where'd Nate go?
He just disappeared behind the. What did you say, Brandon?
What the? Oh, there he is. No, I said, hey, Cynthia.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so this question, or maybe this topic, I should say, is about mental health and or substance use disorder.
Okay.
Isaac, why don't you take us to Bible school? What does the Bible say about the mind?
Ooh.
Because I know there's a lot of there's a lot of science and there's a lot of things that go behind like your mental capacity and just different things like that. But you know, this
Yeah.
hasn't always been like marketed as a Christian podcast, but everyone in here believes in God, is Christians, we live for God. So I don't think we should ever shy away from taking this as an opportunity to, express to this person who put this as a topic suggestion on mental health and substance abuse disorder or substance use disorder. Pull up some of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to say, right? But I think, as weird as it sounds, I mean, at the basis of addiction and stuff like that is lack of purpose and lack of like, I feel like the calling that God has on your life, or if you do like, or it's ignoring it. So I think I've expressed to a lot of people before that I have an addictive personality. So I got rid of my PlayStation years ago before I met my now wife because I was addicted to video games, and I knew that. And recently, somebody introduced me to One Piece, and I'm like caught up, and it should have taken me years, but it took me 3 months or whatever.
Good God Almighty.
And so, like, I get it. So when it comes to addiction, a lot of it is habit tracking and figuring out what your cues are. So, like, what is it? So, like, let's say it's well, he said substance abuse, right?
It's
So,
mental health and or substance use disorder.
yeah, I almost want to like, cause I'm like pulling stuff up too, just to be really like into it and like figure this out. But um, I would just say find God, because God is your method to killing the beast that is whatever that is, right? Like I preached this sermon called Real Fear or Fear Real. I don't know. John made the graphics. You might know better than me, but I think it was Fear Real.
You've changed it a couple times.
Yeah, I changed a couple times. I preached it twice. But so basically I was saying in that like if you fear God, you won't fear anything else. And I feel like a lot of people don't fear God. Fearing God is the beginning of wisdom. The Bible also says so. I don't know. It's so loaded. I wish I could talk to this guy because it's so much more than just like what I'm saying. But find
Right.
God, track your habits. You are having cues. Like if it's a mental health thing,
Mhm.
something is triggering that, or if it's substance abuse. Like I've talked to a lot of young men that deal with pornography, and that was me for many years. And I would always know, okay, I can't be up late. I still actively, even though I haven't dealt with it in years, but I have this box here. I don't know if you can see it.
Mhm.
It's a timer that I put my phone in, and you can put like a. I don't know if you can see that it's a timer, but when I lock my phone in this thing, I literally, if I put it in for a day, I won't see my phone for a day. There's no way to open this. So even though I don't deal with pornography at all, it's a way for me to, since I know myself, like I know my habits, I know my cues, I don't even mess with it anymore. So
Mm.
it's a loaded question. Find God, figure
It's
out your habits,
accountability.
accountability, and if you're embarrassed to talk to other people about it, you shouldn't be, because that's where healing comes from.
Mm.
And you got surround yourself with people who believe in you, like John said, like accountability. And we'd love to see you at church, whoever you are,
Mm.
because we can't. I mean, it's hard to
Right. Right.
counsel without knowing the specifics, but there's
I
probably
looked
some
it up.
sort of trauma too. You know.
Hmm. I looked it up like on Google, like renewing of the mind, like where it talks about that in Scripture, Romans
Oh yeah.
12:2.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Colossians 3:10. God begins renewing the mind when a person gets saved. So I mean, kind of like along the lines of what Isaac's saying about being saved. You know, um, I've heard people say when you get saved, truly saved, you don't look at things that you used to do as I can't do those things anymore. It's I don't want to do those things anymore because it doesn't please God. And whether that's using drugs or like what Isaac said, pornography or anything and everything you can think of that doesn't please God. Um, Something that you've been doing for a long time. It's habitual. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just
Mm-hmm.
becomes something that you
Oh
do
yeah.
consistently. And I think I'm pretty sure there's a few of you guys in here that know this answer, but I know Isaac for sure knows it. How do you break a habit? What is that? Like how to form a good habit or how to form a. It
Oh
takes that
yeah.
2 weeks
Wait,
or something like that.
21
To
days. You're
replace the
saying
habit.
yeah,
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
To replace the habit too.
yeah. So try to maybe look at it like that. Like in 21 days, with the help of being accountable to somebody and also learning who God is, and maybe you already know who God is, but maybe you don't have people in your circle. Um, we would love to help you with that in any way that we can.
If I
So
can add to that,
go for it.
the first thing I thought of when you were talking about the question was the fruits of the spirit. I don't know. I feel like recently the fruits of the spirit has been heavy on my
Mm-hmm.
mind. Like I think, but I mean, I guess it's just because it could be applied to so many things, you know. And I think even Isaac kind of preached on it earlier this year, and um, he was basically saying like, you know, these are the Isaac. That was you, right? That preached on the fruits of the spirit, and then it was
Yeah.
you said the opposite, right?
Fruits of the
Oh
flesh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So one of the fruits of the spirit is self control, right? And so uh like you guys are saying, like, you know, find God, spend time with the Holy Spirit. You'll start to bear that fruit of self control. If you're not spending time with God, then you're not going to have self control over those substances. And I looked up even that chapter in Galatians 5, the very first verse. It says, Galatians 5:1, it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. And that's really what it is that these substances or these addictions, like when we let them take control of us, and we don't have self control over them, then uh, we become slaves to those things, you know. And Christ set us free from all that, so that we wouldn't be slaves. And so, yeah, just to add what you guys said, like, you know, spend time with God, and you'll start to bear all of the fruits of the Spirit, and one of them being self control.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I think too, being accountable is huge. Having accountability partners, speaking with people you trust. You know, you got to find that, because if you don't, you can't do everything on your own. That's why we are called to be the church, to be together, to work through things. Uh, you know, you can go so far, but if you don't have that ally that you can put that trust in to help you with these things and deal with these, to check on you, because that's the thing, like, you know, you need someone to check on you, see how you're doing. um and mental health is serious. I mean, David had depression. Look at the Psalms. Well, you know, some of the Psalms he's up and some of the Psalms he's down. And you know, he says that, you know, my, oh my soul, what is wrong with thee, you know. And even look at Elisha. His mind, he just called down fire from God, watched the enemies burn, outran chariots, right? So he is super speed at this point. And then he cowered and hid because the harlots wanted his head. How crazy is that? Like, you literally just witnessed God take down an army. You outran the chariots, and then you're scared because a woman said that she wants to kill you. Mental health is serious. You know, if you don't know who God is, it's very, very, very obvious that we should know that, and we should know that God is for us, who can be against us? What can separate us from the love of God? And to have the mind of Christ, you know, and to renew our mind with the gospel, to remind yourself that Christ died for you, right? He gave his life for you. You're not just somebody in the ether. You know, you're someone that he loves and cares for, who he died for. And just remember that, to renew your mind with his word, and to always keep the gospel at the center. You know, to remember that you were the joy that was set before the Lord. That's what Christ had on his mind, was you, when he was at the cross. That was set before him. It's you.
I
Yeah.
know, like me, me personally, like, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I was having a lot of trouble sleeping, and I found myself just like restless. Like I was having a hard time like breathing. I felt like every time I was taking a breath, like I wasn't getting oxygen. And so I started to panic and kind of went through this, this like, I want to say a solid 2 to 3 weeks of what I was experiencing was like anxiety, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to someone who's close to me, who I know has dealt with this in the past and quite possibly still may be dealing with this. But I asked this person, I said, "Hey, like, what do you do?" Like, and also I just told this person so that they could pray for me because I knew like they knew exactly how to pray for me. And they just told me like there's a lot of practical things that you can do to help your mental health. And some obviously spirit there's major spiritual things to do with your mental health, but also like getting enough sleep, like get to your bed at a reasonable hour,
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
turn off your phone. Like if you're looking at your phone before you go to bed, like your mind is constantly going, and it may just be leisure or whatever, but before you know it, 15 minutes turns into an hour and it turns into 2 hours, and you realize it's 1 in the morning, and now you're just laying there and you can't sleep. So just like practical things, like your diet
Yeah.
too, like what you eat also depends on how you sleep and how late you eat. So they were just telling me like there's practical things that you can do that will help you sleep already as it is. And
Mm-hmm.
then on the spiritual side of things, like, talk to God. Like if you're restless, you can't sleep, then you're up already. You might as well talk to the creator. You talk to the person who created you and just be like, God, like I don't know what's going on. I can't sleep. I don't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. And I remember one time I specifically got into the car. I woke up, got dressed, got into the car. I was planning on like, I'm up. I might as well go exercise, go walk or something. And then I pulled up to the park and I realized it's 3 in the morning. Nobody's here. and like it started giving me anxiety thinking of me walking around at 3 in the morning and me not knowing who's over there in the dark, or like, just you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just felt like I felt like God telling me, go home. Like, just go home. Like, this is not what you need to do. Like, you need to just get into bed, and you find, not only do you find rest by actually resting, but you can rest in God and rest in the peace that He gives you. And so I just started to claim those things over me, and I felt better. And thank God I don't deal with that anymore. But I can say that although that was a short lived part of my mental health, that I felt like was off balance, it very much was a scary thing, and I don't wish that on the worst of enemies in my life. Like, not being able to feel like you're breathing, like you're actually breathing in oxygen and doing what you need to keep yourself alive, but you feel yourself physically breathing. That's like a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And um, just like what Isaac said, like, you obviously have access to the Grown Up Kids page, and I hope that this is a place where you feel like you can, laugh and smile and have a good time, but also know that there's people in this podcast that would be willing to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And none of us really know. I'll speak for myself. I don't know everything, not only about
No.
what the Bible says, but like what doctors have to say about mental health. But I can definitely walk with you through this and try to help you figure it out. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us are willing to do that. Mike, did you want to say something?
Yeah. So going back, I guess, like to the mental health and all that. I feel like a good thing to do is to build healthy habits. You know what I mean, or good habits. So like something that's helped me out is going to the gym. Um, and honestly, I feel like that's helped me out 1,000 times because last year around this time actually, my mom passed away and stuff like that, and uh, I never, I don't talk about it. John knows, like I don't talk about anything, but unless I'm asked, then I'll talk about whatever. But I feel like with her, like I just bottled everything up to the point like it was affecting me. It affected my job and stuff like that, and it took several months for it to actually affect me. She passed away in September last year, so it didn't affect me until like January, February. And then I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go to bed. I don't want to do nothing. And even then, I went to the gym a bit, with my dad and stuff, and helped me out a little bit. But I wasn't consistent with it until like more recently, um, these past couple of months. And so that's what helped me is just being consistent with it and just going. I mean, you're not going to feel motivated every day to do something like that. It's not how it works. You just have to be disciplined, and that's like even then, like with scripture or with the word or with going to God, like you have to be disciplined and going to church, doing what you have to do. And that's something that I'm trying to do, and like this time around. So I guess you can say like her death anniversary is next Wednesday, or the Wednesday coming up. And like mentally, I feel okay. Usually I feel like I was really scared that I wasn't gonna feel okay a few months ago. I feel like this whole week was gonna be horrible. But honestly, I feel great. I feel okay with myself, I guess. Um, and I think when the day comes, like, yeah, obviously I'm going to be sad, and stuff,
Right.
but I won't be as severely depressed as I was, you know what I mean? Or
Mm.
anything like that. And so that's definitely helped me going to the gym. And then, like John was saying, like when you're restless at nights and stuff, or when you're constantly, your mind just going 1,000 miles an hour, what helps me out is I just kind of play like worship music on my phone, and like that just calms me down. That and I go to sleep to that. Like that just soothes me. That brings me at peace, and that's something that spiritually wise, you just try. You know what I mean? And it does help out and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd say build healthy or good habits, from this.
Mike, that was amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable like that.
Always.
I think what Mike said was genius, and I will say that that the devil works best with an empty calendar. So, like Mike filled up his calendar with the gym, with his job, with time with his son, things like that.
Mhm.
And you'll notice when you're the most addicted to drugs or whatever, it's when you got nothing going on. When guys watch pornography a lot, it's when they're looking for a job, or it's like young men need purpose. And
Mhm.
I would just implore you to find purpose, and you find that through Christ. 2 books to recommend to you. One's called The Power to Change by Craig Groeschel. It's a habit building book, which is what we've been saying this whole time. And yeah, because it's too much to say in just one podcast. So read that book, The Power to Change. And then the second one is The Battlefield of the Mind. And that is by, why did I forget her name? Joyce Meyer. Those 2 books, bro, you'll be set. I know the Bible may be intimidating, but if you can, there's a lot of Bible in those 2 books. So we love you, man. Hoping the best for you.
That's good. Isaac, it is 12:25.
My clock says 12:29.
Dang. Is that
Oh,
your
this
phone?
one's yeah,
Yeah.
my computer's off. All right. What do you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes?
Let's see. Go for it. Go
I
for it.
liked the question about like what was it, like the alternate universe of us?
Yes.
That was good. What was that one?
Okay. So this one comes from a good friend of mine, John Accord. Shout out. He wants to know what the parallel universe version of us would look like.
John would have no musical ability. So what would John be doing?
John would be working at a desk job. No,
You know
not a
what?
desk. He would be
Honestly,
a welder.
As
would be a
he's
welder.
recording from his desktop.
A welder.
The universal version, like the other universe version of me, would be super smart and
Not the first to die in the zombie apocalypse.
yeah,
Yeah, good with directions.
I'd be the second one to die.
It's John and Brandon.
Gosh, I don't even know. Honestly, it makes me sad thinking like that an alternate version of me would have no musical ability.
That's tough.
I would honestly would be miserable if I didn't really hear music and be like, "Oh, that was sick." If I just listen to music and be like,
If you're just a casual
Spoilers.
musical,
"Yeah."
it's just a
Mm.
casual.
I
Nate,
personally would like to be placed on Earth number.
This dude.
616.
616.
Nate
That's the one
would be a
word.
jerk. Can you imagine Nate just being like the meanest guy in the world?
That's true.
That's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Brandon, you would be a boy dad.
No, the part that's weird to me is that
That'd be crazy.
why? Because I'm still single. I'm not a dad yet. That's crazy.
Dang. No, you'd probably be a dad of multiple kids, right?
Multiple baby
You'd be
mamas.
like Nick Cannon of the RGV.
Dang.
Oh.
Nick Cannon is crazy.
Bro's just tagging women
Nate,
left.
Nate Cannon.
Crazy.
Buddy's playing tag at this point. You're it.
Aw.
You're it.
What about Michael's alternate universe self?
I don't know.
He would be
Not have any
like-
voice cracks.
No.
A deep voice.
I was gonna say that with this crack.
Yeah, he would
Bro.
have a big deep voice, and he would
That
be
came
like
from the heart, bro. Did y'all
Mr.
hear
Olympia
that?
or something.
Poor guy, bro. That's crazy.
You know
Such
what?
an
I'm
embarrassing
just gonna throw this out there. What would you guys consider to be like the alternate version of Whataburger?
In and out.
Like
Ugh.
Jason
Yeah, in
Staley.
and out, trash in and out.
Okay, well, you see how
Mhm.
disgusted he was to utter those words. The alternate version of Michael would be all like he would wear In-N-Out merch.
He would be
Why
a
a taco?
Californian. He'd be a Californian.
Yeah, he'd probably be in
That's
California.
gross.
He'd be liberal.
A liberal.
Purple
You
hair.
voting for Kamala?
Purple
Huge
hair.
feminist.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like I'd be like in the alternate universe, be a billionaire and not care about anybody.
Mm.
Probably.
Like a billionaire and not care about anybody. Like
A billionaire
if
that
I
just
was like
Uber
a billionaire,
because you can't cook.
that or like I know like in an alternate universe, I know everyone, like the same friends, but I don't care about them. Like as far as like helping them pay for anything or anything like that. So yeah.
You'd have the quietest laugh in the world.
That's
Not
true.
quite as loud.
Have we addressed Isaac yet or no?
Or he'll be 3 feet tall.
Well,
Not yet, and I'm scared.
So
don't think
Isaac
so.
is the Isaac for me is the guy that I go to for any questions about like anything having to do with religion. Like he just knows his stuff about like, Jews or Baptists or like anything. Like he could really like expand on it. But he's a Christian, right? A devout Christian. He loves the Lord. I think in this alternate universe, he still knows all that stuff, but he's atheist.
Mm,
And a
good.
liberal.
And he sucks at public speaking, and he gets really embarrassed with the things.
So he's a YouTuber.
And just super gay. Like just really, really gay.
Okay, he had to go there.
All right, guys, I gotta go dad mode.
All right, bro.
I gotta be the representation of Brandon's shirt.
Tired dad.
Tired dad.
Love you guys.
Love you, bro.
Tired
Thanks for
dad.
hopping on.
I liked
Some
it.
rest.
How do I even get out of this thing?
I can take you out, bro. You're good.
All right.
It
Oh, I got it.
says leave studio.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, all right,
See you, bro. Thank
All right,
God.
now that the
I'm just
lightweight's
kidding.
out of the
I
way.
know. All
Just
right.
kidding.
He was still backstage.
All of us.
I removed him from the stream, and he was still at the bottom. He can still hear us.
Oh,
Watch, I
He
think
knows we
John, I'm
love him.
gonna remove you. John, can you still hear us? Nod your head, yes, if you can hear us, because we can't hear you.
that's hilarious.
That's funny.
Okay,
Just reassure him we were kidding.
we have some. Oh yeah, he knows we were just joking.
Why are you gay?
There's kind of a handful of questions. I kind of wanted to ask this one while
Keep
Isaac
going.
was here, but I do understand that he needed to go be a tired dad.
Yeah.
Let's see. That one was kind of funny. Let's go back to a little bit more serious. But it says secular songs being played at church, and why are they being played? Crying face, in parentheses, they shouldn't.
So I misunderstood the question. I thought it was the whole like, as a Christian,
Person
should
He
you
listens
listen
to
to secular music.
music.
Is it like the worship, like worship? You know how like worship teams, or like how like we sometimes the musicians we riff on each other. We start riffing on other songs that are not.
Yeah, like I've heard
Worship,
some genius like Coldplay integrations into like praise and or like
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like that I like. I think it makes music.
No,
worship
that
music
stuff
more
is
creative.
crazy. Okay.
Says the non-musician.
I know.
Just
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is y'all's conversation.
says the non-churchgoer. Oh,
Oh,
just kidding.
non-member of a church.
Back in the mushroom, I'm back
Uh,
in the mushroom kingdom for this answer. All right, so I'm gonna
So-
give my hot take, and I know
give
that
your hot
this is
take, and then I'll probably expand upon that.
yeah. So
And
this
me
is
too.
definitely like an unpopular opinion. I honestly feel, and this is like I can't speak for anybody else. This is me personally in this group. There is not a very wide catalog of CCM, Christian music, contemporary Christian music, or just Christian music in general that to me is just creative and inspires
Mhm.
me as a musician.
Totally
I just
agree.
I have to find it's like an indie band that nobody knows, but creatively, musically, I'm like, this is something that I could jam to. Like this is something I can listen to on repeat. I have a hard time, and believe me, I've looked. I kind of think that people that know me, that hear this podcast, hear this part of the podcast, are gonna be like, "But did you really look though? Like, did you really look?" Trust me. Over the years, I'm 31 years old. For as long as Brandon has known me, it's 9 times out of 10. Let's listen to the music, and between the music, when it goes to the next track, let's fit in a little conversation there, and then we're to music again. Like, I just love to listen to music. I love music, and I've searched and searched and looked for all types of different Christian styles and music, and I just, if it's not like oldies, like 90s DC Talk or Audio A, stuff like that, like I just can't put on Maverick City and just be like listening to Maverick City all day. Like I
Yeah,
can't do it.
I'm the same way. Or
I can't
Bethel,
do it.
or
Yeah, Bethel, any of those. Like, and it has nothing to
Heretic.
do with like that's not that's not good music. I'm not saying it's not good music. I play it whenever I get a chance to play drums on Sunday or sing. That's what we do. And I never roll my eyes and be like, dude, this is just so not like creative. Sure, maybe this isn't the place to try to get all artsy or whatever. Like we're trying to lead people in worship. That's fine. But if there's an opportunity in an intro or a transition from song to song to use what a band does very well that doesn't necessarily have music in the Christian genre or Christian realm or whatever you want to call it, like they're using what God gave them to not do what they were created to do. So why is it frowned upon when I have an idea that's based on what a secular band is doing not for God, and why can't we use it for God to create intensity, to create hype, to create, it's in a lot of churches, a lot of conversations, it's frowned upon. It's like that doesn't belong in the church. And it's like, I
yeah,
mean, I'm not
playing
open to,
Stratosphere as an intro.
yeah, playing Stratosphere is like nobody
Yeah.
nobody knows, but
Perfect
like a
Nobody
lot of
example.
the
knows.
stuff, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff that I've worked on personally for the church is inspired by what bands do really well,
Yeah.
but nobody knows who they
For
are.
sure.
I don't go out and use an NSYNC song that everybody knows as an intro for a song, because that's right away people are going to be like, is that is that never, you know what I mean? Like, okay, now it's just a distraction
Or
Yeah.
like
because everybody
Michael,
knows what it is.
like Michael Todd and his Transformation Church, they
Mhm,
reword the lyrics is
Yeah,
mhm.
like that's bad.
like
Yeah, that's just out
that's
there.
like the Anaconda. They did like Nicki Minaj song, and they
Okay.
reworded it,
Okay,
and
buddy.
it was wild. Like stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but my take is this: I am so incredibly inspired by what these guys, these bands are doing outside of the Christian realm, that it encourages me, someone who's in the Christian realm, to be like, what? Why aren't we pushing those boundaries? Why aren't we doing stuff like this? And so
Exactly.
whenever I have the opportunity to not note for note, lyric for lyric, or rhythm for rhythm, however you want to word it, copy paste what they're doing, it's like, no, but let's take that vibe and let's try to, like, what if we try to do something like this? And instead of using a kit, let's use a little this, or let's try using this instead, an 808. Like, I don't see the problem with that. That's just me. I know that that's not a very popular opinion, especially they're like, well, this has no place in the house of God. But like,
I think
I've heard references in sermons about things that have nothing to do with God, but they can
mhm.
use that as an illustration. But
Yeah.
we can't use a Coldplay chord progression as an interlude from one song to the next. Like, I
What's funny is that I have this joke that Coldplay is my favorite worship band because 9 times out of 10, your favorite people that play worship music, their favorite artist is Coldplay
yep,
because Coldplay has just been setting the standard for pop music for so long. And just listen to the intros. Listen to all these new intros coming out. A lot of them borrow from Coldplay on how
Or,
they open a song. How
or like
listen to how
their
they
live
listen.
arrangements.
Yeah, or listen to their choruses. How Coldplay does it with the hook. That's how they get you, and then
Yeah.
they'll hold you. And here's the thing that this is such a dumb argument because it doesn't matter because music is a circle, right? You hear something you're inspired by. Nothing is original. There's nothing original in this planet. It's been done. Everybody's done it before. It's just finding new ways to create that creative space, and you're not going to find it in your 4/4, you know, contemporary Christian songs. You
Mhm.
know,
With 154
Brandon
progressions.
Lake. A lot of people like Brandon Lake, but like his stuff is a lot of ripped off stuff from other artists and stuff that I've heard, and I'm like, dude, like this isn't original to me. Like, but it's original to Christians because they don't listen to anything else, and he can get away with it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, if we're being real, like let's keep it 1,000. If we're being real, you could say that about almost any artist, you know.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
it's
because I
just
agree with you. Every chord progression has been played. Every
Mhm.
element, everything you can think of has been done before. But it's just making it unique to you in terms of like how you play it, how expressive you are with it, how dynamic you are with it. Like that's what makes it unique to you.
Mhm.
And like you know, I'm sorry if this disappoints people, but a lot of my drumming was inspired. What I play on Sundays for church was inspired by a lot of secular drummers that are huge
Mm,
inspirations to me. I mean,
yep.
these guys are not part of bands who are singing about worshiping the devil and being a womanizer and abuser and cussing. Like they're not. I'm very choosy with what I listen to, but nevertheless, like if you're gonna make it black and white, like whether that's not Christian music, like okay, like I agree with you. But this music that I listen to, it's not like a lifestyle. I don't live out the whatever they sing about, or it's like
Yeah.
that's a catchy tune. That's a sick drum fill. Like I want to see how and
And you know what's funny? Just to capitalize on this real quick, is that you now have church and Christian artists leaving church, and now they're playing for the Sabrina Carpenters. They're playing for
Yeah.
these big pop acts, and like Justin Timberlake, dude. All his musicians are church people. Listen to his
Gospel.
arrangements. That's gospel, you know.
mhm.
Gospel chops.
And
Yeah.
it's like come on, man. Like it's like I said, it's a circle, and that's a hard truth for some people. They can't think outside of the church, and outside of CCM music. I'm
what I
sorry, but the truth is everybody's in the same stratosphere.
mhm.
It's no
what
different.
I what I will agree with though is like secular songs being played at church. Like I don't know if he meant part of the band or like I would imagine pre-service you hear like Snoop Dogg
That's
or
what I was thinking
something, or
more
you
of.
hear like
Yeah, that's out
something
of pocket.
playing
No, no.
like why is this being played right now? Like
Hmm.
I think in if that's how he meant it in the message, like I agree with that. Like I wouldn't dare fill a playlist on the computer here at church with a bunch of random songs that are not
Drake,
Christian. You know what
no,
I'm saying?
dude.
Except Creed. Except Creed.
Except Creed.
Creed,
Except Creed.
greatest in the world. Creed.
Um Now as far as elements from secular bands being integrated into
The
uh
elements.
uh as far as like you
Oh, that's
know
good.
like, I could say this for myself, like one of my favorite pieces of music ever written, and I know that's a bold statement, but it's an intro to Khalid's album, the Spirit. What is it? Spirit something? What is it called? Brandon, you know which one I'm talking about?
Uh, no.
No, I don't know if it's Free Spirit or I don't know what the name of the album is, but the song is literally called Intro, and this is how he introed the album.
Oh yeah, I think you showed me that one.
It is
Yeah.
so wide in sound. There's so much space, and it's literally just like a bass synth playing with this really beautiful melody of him singing on top. What did we do? We took that same elements of those bass hits and just how spacious everything was, and we literally sang "Here as in Heaven." Like we sang that on top of that, and we made it a very Christian, overtly Christian themed intro, but we used the nuances and the stuff from that intro.
Hmm.
It was not
Oh, this one.
something. It was not something that. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah. So it was something that was like, and I'm not even joking. I heard some people say, Nathan's my witness. Some people said that is one of the best intros I've ever heard. but they have no earthly idea that that is from a secular artist. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it goes back to what Brandon was saying, like, well, it's because people don't listen. All they know is Brandon Lake. That's fine. Like, if that,
96.9.
yeah, like if that's what works for you, like,
Yeah.
more power to you. Literally, no judgment. But
Yep.
I think on the other token, it's like,
Yeah.
there's people that are gonna hear this and gonna be like, shouldn't be listening to that stuff. And it's like, I don't know. My approach is like, if you're gonna be like that with music because it doesn't glorify God, then you shouldn't be taking your kids to go watch movies like at the movie
Mhm.
theater.
I personally think that there's something beautiful in taking something that wasn't meant to glorify God and then glorifying God with it.
Bingo.
I mean, one of the
Yep,
biggest,
yep.
one of the most famous lyrics is "You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good," right?
Mhm.
And like, of course, that's talking about God doing that, but like, I think in our own way, um, these guys are writing these songs, writing these guitar lines, these leads or melodies
Mhm.
with the intention to not glorify God. But then when we take it and we use it to glorify God, then I think there's something beautiful in that. And uh, I think one of you guys mentioned it too. Like a lot of chord progressions have been played. Like it's really hard
Mhm.
to get creative with it nowadays. But I think like uh, dang, I lost my train of thought.
Amen.
Oh, so damn it, I forgot it.
Oh,
You threw him
Um,
off.
going back to the most embarrassing thing you've witnessed each other do.
I know, right? Oh, dang it! But this is my ADHD, bro. I just be forgetting stuff.
Michael's just watching anime.
No.
I will. I have something that I want to share, but I don't know. I don't want to cut you off, Nate, especially because you're trying to remember what you're trying to say.
I'm sure it'll come back to me, and then I'll just say it.
Okay.
So,
So this is not coming from my mouth. This is literally coming from the man himself, Brandon Lake. This is Coat of Many Colors, one of my favorite songs. And you're about to hear why it's one of my favorite songs. He says it himself. Check this out.
And the name of my record is called Coat of Many Colors. Okay, like 4 people like that name. I just, one, because my record is so diverse. There's a color of every kind, a sonic color of every kind. It's a really diverse record, and I'm super excited. And just like you just heard this rock and roll thing, weird thing, and now we're about to sing this really pretty Coldplay type song, but
You're about to hear this really pretty Coldplay type song. You can't tell me that he knows it's a reference to a Coldplay song if this guy doesn't listen to Coldplay. There's
Every
absolutely
worship
no way.
artist does. Every worship
There's
artist
no, there's
does.
not, bro. One of my and Nathan knows this. Michael knows this. If PK was here, he'd agree. Brandon as well. You guys, who's my hero? Who's my Christian singer hero? Okay,
sorry,
none of you.
it's because
Leland.
I remembered what it
Leland.
was and wrote it down.
Nice. Leland. One of my
I
biggest.
keep seeing red hair, and I was like, oh, what's his name?
Yeah, Leland.
Yeah, you're right.
Still to this day, my favorite Christian artist. Always will be my favorite Christian artist. He's amazing. He's released music under another name, so not his name Leland, but he's had music under Easy Company and what was the other one? The Normies. None of those songs have anything to do with God. This guy who's writing music that is just so that's blessing millions of people in the world can also write a love song, can also write us a beautiful melody arrangement. He has such a gift. And for someone like that to feel comfortable enough to do that, like it kind of brings a little bit more peace to my heart when I hear how people don't really agree with it. And it's like, I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I understand. Not everybody agrees with it.
So along the same lines of how you were saying, like if you're gonna be kind of like nitpicky with music, you have to be like that across the board, right? Like
Right, right.
with movies and TV shows, things like that. Well, a lot of the equipment that we use in church, like drum sets, the companies that make the soundboards, that make the lighting, the LEDs, the speakers, almost everything that we use in church is not meant to glorify God. But
Dang.
we turn it, we use it that way to worship God. Those guys are making millions of dollars off churches, billions
Mhm.
maybe, because we use it in our churches,
Tool.
and
It's a tool that we use to amplify
for sure.
the gifts in the house of
Well,
God.
not only that, I'll take it a step further. One of the earliest, all for all those hermanos and hermanas that love Marcos Witt, like, I don't know if they realize that all his music was inspired by Luis Miguel and his musicians.
Mm.
Like, all of his stuff. There was a player, there was a keyboard player, and a keyboard player and somebody else. I think one of the brass instruments, brass musicians left Luis Miguel, and Marcos Witt was looking for a new sound for Christian music, and he found them. And literally all his early stuff, if you play the intros, it's all Luis Miguel stuff.
Mm.
Like almost every one of his songs, it's like, oh, dude, that's Luis Miguel did that, or like all these other artists did
But
that.
but
But he
that's the
found
stuff that
musicians.
but that's the stuff that everybody's like, oh, this is the most anointed stuff. Like the '90s,
Yeah,
Marcos Witt is the most perfect thing, like perfect, And it's like, to me, it's just like this argument is kind of just it's shouldn't be one because it just sounds ignorant, honestly.
Mm.
And
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's a hard truth and it's a real truth. So cope.
Yeah, I also think about like and this doesn't bother me one bit at all. But I see pastors like how they dress nowadays. They're wearing like
Pop
dunks.
culture.
They're wearing like the sickest clothes and like name brand
Better
stuff.
preach.
I'm pretty sure like if you look at like the representatives or the CEOs or whatever, like honestly, if you look for something bad, you're gonna find it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you dig, you're gonna find something bad with everything. Like the
Mm-hmm.
shirt that I'm wearing, probably the person who made it or the company that makes it does not. They're probably voting for Kamala or something. That has nothing to do with me. I like the sweater. I bought it. Like, but if you start going into those different things, like you can get really stuck. Kind of like, well, what are you gonna do? Like,
If you do
if
that, you're
this
gonna live in
if the
fear.
CEO exactly. I was just to like wrap up
Oh, go ahead.
the
Yeah.
the conversation. I was just gonna say like, I truly believe that everybody's conviction should very much heavily influence like what you do and how you do it. So like I don't feel icky and I don't feel ugly when I listen to a Coldplay song or listen to a Meat Math song or listen to whatever. But maybe someone else, their conviction is like, well, that doesn't glorify God, so I'm choosing to stay away from it. If that's what your conviction tells you, then great. But just the way I don't like poke fun at you and like, bro, really? Like you don't watch that movie or you don't whatever? Like, no, like to each their own. Like I respect you. All I ask is that you respect me too. You know what I mean? Like I would never like I'm a church kid. I'm a PK. Like I know what's deemed inappropriate and appropriate for the church, for the workplace. I'm not about to unplug my headphones and listen to Under Oath or listen to Emery or listen to like some music to get me going for the day, knowing that someone else in the office would much rather just have their headphones on listening to Maverick City or listening to Marcos Witt or whatever. Like whatever. I'm not gonna make them listen to what I want to listen to. That's what I have headphones for. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression that we're like, just listen to whatever you want. Like, no, like it's based on what your conviction tells you. Like, definitely listen to your spirit. If you feel, hey, like I'm a newborn Christian, I used to listen to this and this and this, and it's all bad stuff. Then I would say like, solidify your relationship with the Lord. You'll know what you should and shouldn't be listening to. Like, we can't tell you, like you can't go there and you can't do that. Like that needs to come from you. That's what free will is all about. There's benefits to abstaining and doing certain things, and once you learn like your conviction and how things make you feel, like you'll be able to make those decisions. But none of us can do that for you. And so that's what I would say, like, when it comes to music and stuff like that. Okay, rapid fire. Let me see. I think we can end with this one. This is actually a really good question. How do you feel about the new Office series from Australia?
I think this would be a
Our friend,
flop.
our friend Star Estrella. Our
I
friend
have
Star.
big complaints.
Big complaints. Okay, I've
So
only seen the preview once or the trailer once.
me too, but that's all I need. My biggest complaint, okay, about shows like this, and it's not a reboot because they referenced the old Office. If you remember, they showed the picture of the cast from the Christmas party. Don't make your characters the same characters.
Mm.
The lady's like Michael Scott. Like, come on, dude. Like, that's so on the nose. The one other girl is trying to be like Dwight, like the super try hard. The goofy guy is Jim, looking at the camera like, it's kind of like, dude, don't recycle that. Like, make new
Yeah.
characters. Like,
Mm.
I think a perfect example is Parks and Rec. Those are all fresh characters. Some elements, right, of certain characters are in those other characters,
You can
but I
definitely draw the
think,
parallels between the two, but it wasn't created for that purpose.
yeah,
Yeah.
but this one just feels like the girl's a female Michael.
It's like a
It's a
redone.
female. Yeah, it's like a redo, and it's like, dude, like, come on, like, even if it's funny, even if it's because I know that there's some funny topics that they could go over. Do I wish the original cast was doing it? Of course, because that would be hella funny. But it. I don't know. I just think that that's a big glaring issue, is that you shouldn't be recycling characters just by gender swapping them and trying to, make it feel familiar. You should never do that. You should always make your characters feel like they're, fresh, new, but pay homage to certain things maybe, but not. I don't know. That's what I got from the trailer. The show's different than, I'll say that the show is different, but from the trailer, I was like, it just feels like we're trying to do the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Has there ever really been like a reboot of a show that's gone on that long? I
How
can't think
many
of anything.
how many seasons of The Office UK did they
9.
have?
Oh, UK? I
I
don't
think it
know.
was 2. Yeah, it's
I don't
just
know.
2.
It's tough because, like, well, first of all, I haven't seen the trailer yet. I only saw pictures, and I already saw the similarities.
Yeah.
Aside, like gender aside, I did see similarities of the characters. Um, it's tough because if that's the goal, like we want to do like our own rendition of The Office, then like cool, like have at it. But like that's just such a big shoe to fill. You're already setting yourself up
Mhm.
for failure. The Office UK, I think also got a lot of hype, but like you said, it only lasted 2 seasons. And even the Office UK had similar characters, right? Like that Ricky Gervais guy was like a Michael Scott in the UK. So if it's gonna be popular in their country and it's gonna be like their own Australian version, that's cool. Like you guys have fun. But it's
And
just that's
they'll
just
have
such
like
a tough
Australian
task.
references.
Yeah, it's just such a
Yeah.
tough task to follow up, and so I don't know. I'll check out the trailer and I might have some more thoughts on it. But
I know
I think
Greg Daniels is
it's gonna
behind it.
be.
who?
No, go ahead. Greg Daniels, the original creator, he's
Oh,
the same.
okay.
He's behind it, but still, it's kind of like, come on, dude.
I
You
think
shouldn't.
it's gonna relate to the Australia population. Like I said earlier, I think they're doing it based on their culture of things and references that happens with Australians and their work cultures and different dynamics of what they have over there. So I feel like when it comes out, it's going to be geared towards that, and a lot of people in the U.S. are not going to understand. They're like, what does that mean? But people in Australia are like dying laughing. They're like, oh yeah, like this makes sense. Like, oh yeah, this does. It probably hit with them more than it would with us. Like the humor would hit more probably with Australians and with us because they have their own pop culture going on down there, and they have their own references down there. So I feel like I feel like for us, it's not going to do much, but for them, it's probably going to be a hit.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on the same side as Brandon. Um, but I'm also trying to think like logistically. Like, has anyone ever tried to make a reboot of of a 9 season series TV series? Like,
Well, a successful one too.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that to me
Yeah.
just like already sounds like you're setting yourself up for a failure because everybody's already come to love the first version of it or the second version of it because of the UK one. But I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna
Different.
check it
The
out.
Office. Yeah, The Office. Like you have those shows. Like Game of Thrones is another one, but The Office was like a cultural phenomenon that happened. Like it was a huge, huge thing that people in your daily lives would
Hmm.
like. Well, back when you actually had cable television and you had to like sit down and wait until the next week and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But but that was it
It's
was
it's
different.
it's just a classic. At the time, it's classic. And the best way that I could like, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we went, me, Nathan, and a friend of ours at lunchtime. We finished our lunch pretty early, and we went to Target. And I was walking around the Switch game aisle, and I saw that Super Smash is still selling for $80. I'm like, dude, this game's been out for like 4 years.
Nintendo's a ripoff, dude. They don't mark down their games for nothing, bro.
Well, but that's the thing though.
Even when
Like,
it was GameCube.
I looked at some of the other games that were like next to it, and those games are just as fun. But like Super Smash, like that's a classic. Like, it just never went down in price. Like, unless it's pre-owned, that's the only way you're gonna get it for less.
Like
Same
ten
thing with
bucks.
The Office. The Office. We walked by the
Yeah.
DVD selection. I told Nate, I was like, "There's no way this is the only selection of DVDs." And Nate's like, "If you think about it, bro, like everything's being streamed now. Like, they don't really sell like much of a catalog, a huge catalog. It's not a draw anymore as the streaming is, you know." And I was looking at
In a way, you're saving money if you buy the DVD
right,
collection.
right. But I was
Yeah.
looking at the display, and it had The Office seasons 1 through 9,
Mhm.
the complete season, and it was for $50. And right next to it
Wow.
was a sticker for Parks and Rec, and that one was selling for like 34.99 or something like that.
Wow.
And so it just goes to show you, like, The Office has been out for a long time. You can stream it, whatever. But like, I'm pretty sure it hasn't gone down much in price because that's a show that everybody loves, you know. Like, and
Mhm.
to try to reboot it, it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. And I've heard from different people, cast members from the US adaptation of The Office, say on different talk show hosts or different talk shows, I'm sorry, say that like, hey, like if they ever did a reboot and they gave me a call, like I would definitely, be intrigued, or I would, and then you have the ones that say like, I don't know, man, like I don't know how it would work in today's world. Like, I don't think it would be the same humor, the same jokes, the same whatever.
I think that's fair too, because it's
Oh,
we
absolutely.
with the world we live in is let's just be honest, it's soft,
Hmm.
and like the jokes that fly, they don't fly now. Peacock has them edited. I'm glad I have the 9 seasons on DVD because they ain't taking that away from me. I got the original jokes, baby.
I don't know. We'll have to see, Estrella. I think everybody. Well, Michael hasn't said anything for the whole podcast, but I would say, I was like, "Well, my name's still God." No, uh,
No.
I'm
but I
God.
mean, I'm pretty sure you agree too, right? Like, you're kind of skeptical of the reboot.
Yeah, and plus I don't really know if we're even gonna bother watching it. I mean, I feel like it's more for Australian, right?
Yeah, and maybe for the generation that just wasn't around when The Office came out, they were kind of like getting into it later. Maybe for them, it's like a second wind. Like, yeah, like this is pretty cool or whatever.
True, and I feel like
I can
also
just see all
over
the
there.
memes. Huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I feel like in Australia, like I think they still joke around a little bit more than what we
Yeah,
do now. Like
their way of joking is pretty.
it's still out there,
Still,
right?
it's still like they're not
So it
PC.
still might be like the same office. You know what I mean?
interesting. Well,
I want
fellas,
them to. I want them to get canceled.
Dang.
Great.
No, not like
Damn.
canceled. Like people
Cancel
don't watch
culture.
it. I wanted to see. That's what make it funny. If they lean into stuff like that, like that's gonna be funny. Like I
Mhm.
just wish it was Michael Scott taking on these big issues. Like, can you imagine an episode about Uber or an episode
Mhm.
about Donald Trump as president? How all
Yeah.
this stuff would go crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I always had this pitch for an episode of The Office that I thought would have been so funny. It would have been like a Mother's Day episode, so they would have had like the moms in the office like be celebrated, maybe like a take office pictures. But how funny would it be to finally meet Michael's mom and everybody be super in love with her, but hate Michael, and so Michael's trying to get in on like, hey, like yeah, like
Yeah.
she's awesome, right? Like she's my mom, and everyone's like, shut, like be quiet, like, and
They
asking her
they
like, hey,
invite her. They invite her back, and he's not
yeah,
even.
yeah, yeah, and then
He's
him be
like,
like,
what are you doing here? He's like, what are
yeah,
you
like
doing
him
here?
be super butthurt that everybody is into his mom, like she's a great person, everybody likes
And
her,
not him.
get along with her, but everybody can't stand him at work. Like I felt like that would have been like a super great like way to introduce his mom, because I think we hear about her a few times, like especially when
Mhm.
she gets remarried and stuff. But the one where he's like, "Mom, guess what? I'm getting married." She's like, "No, you're not."
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
"How come every time I'm getting married, you think that I'm not getting married?" She's, are you getting married? No. And then he hangs up. But just imagine like everybody getting along with that person and not getting along with Michael. Like,
It would be
and
funny.
then maybe like towards the end of the episode, Dwight starts to really start to like her, even though Dwight's loyal to Michael. So he's like torn. I thought that would have been a great episode.
Dude, right now, Brandon, when you said that, like, it'd be cool to see them like incorporate like today's world of things like Donald Trump or something. It reminded me of when they did it with Obama when
Mhm.
Stanley has the heart attack and Michael
Oh
Shannon,
yeah.
the president's black, Stanley. Or something like that.
I remember. Oh,
As if that's gonna make him stop having a heart attack. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that show's goated, man.
The
For sure.
best.
10 out of 10.
Smack, scream, run.
S tier.
All right,
Yes.
guys. This was the first installment of the virtual episodes. We honestly, truly believe this is going to be more effective to be consistent. This doesn't mean that we won't ever do like in-person episodes again, because obviously that's something that's just as fun. But this is a way to kind of get content out quicker and more consistently. Shout out to Nathan for always doing the homework and doing all the stuff that no one else likes to do to figure this stuff out for us. So I don't know how to point. Oh, he's over
Yeah,
here.
thanks.
Shout out to Nathan. And wow, comes back with his shirt off. You're like, dang.
You're still backstage.
I love you
Yeah,
guys. Get some
No,
rest.
yeah.
Looks like you're there. You go. There's the other finger.
Got to work tomorrow.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when are you gonna get that gummy bear energy drink from Seven Brew?
I'm gonna try to go Sunday,
Nice.
but
Which was the one I
I
tried.
gotta wake up early.
That was good.
Yeah, Stargazer. Brandon said that one. He likes it, right, Brandon?
Yeah, Stargazer. Yeah.
All
Gummy
right,
bear. Is it like apple?
just do it. Just trust. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for watching this virtual episode of the Grown Up Kids podcast. Keep an eye out for our socials because you could possibly join in on one of these episodes. Brandon's like, really? See you guys on the next episode.
Later.
Bye.
Later, boys.
Later.
Laters.